A group of Phoenix police officers filing a civil lawsuit in federal court. They say their rights were violated when they were asked to give DNA samples during the investigation into the shooting death of a fellow Phoenix police officer.
ABC 15 investigator Lori Jane Glee has been working on this story. And Lori Jane, they're not looking to win money in this lawsuit?
Katie, that's right. They're only asking for $1 in damages. What they really want is a policy change in the way DNA is collected from police officers if a case like this were to ever happen again.
When Sergeant Sean Drenth was shot to death near the state capitol, dozens of Phoenix police officers flocked to the dirt lot where he died. Homicide detectives even told us those officers contaminated possible evidence and left their own DNA at the crime scene.
It wasn't a typical secured scene.
Homicide detectives requested voluntary DNA samples from officers who were at or near the scene to compare with evidence they collected. And they also used this court order, not a search warrant, to gather DNA from 5 officers and a civilian employee who refused to voluntarily offer samples. 3 of those officers are now suing. They say their constitutional rights were violated.
Their intentions were to try to help out, because certainly the family deserved to be helped, but they wanted to ensure that they had some basic protections if their DNA was given over to the city.
Paul Orphanides represents the plaintiffs. He's the director of litigation at Judicial Watch. He says his clients would have willingly supplied DNA if the city had promised not to put it in a crime database or keep it on file for decades. He says his clients were subjected to an unlawful search without a warrant and without probable cause. And he's asking for the DNA samples that were collected to be destroyed.
They're trying to establish the principle that what happened to them was wrong, and they shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen to other police officers. It shouldn't happen to anybody else in the country.
The attorney representing the 3 officers in this case says they just want a change in policy, and they suggest maybe as a term of employment, officers should be required to give their DNA up front when they're hired. This way the DNA would never end up in a crime database for its connection to a crime. And Steve, I asked the Phoenix Police Department to give some thoughts on this, and they say they're not going to comment right now because of the pending lawsuit.
Yeah, it really raises some interesting constitutional questions here, though. Thank you, Lori Jane.